It's been a bit of a week, hasn't it? It all started off with Euro Under 21s and Club World Cup, and then it quickly turned into Sorare 26 and then the follow up blog thereafter. And this week, honestly, has been unlike many other weeks that I've seen on Sorare, especially around gameplay announcement stuff. There's normally always a divide on certain topics and certain issues, but there's always normally some really universally accepted positives that come out of it. But this one didn't really have that kind of vibe to it, to be honest with you. And some of the stuff I've seen people saying, I think a lot of people are just getting some stuff totally wrong. And I've kind of got some stuff in the video we're going to tackle today that is like everything that I've seen people are getting the wrong end of the stick with. But we will have a little look at the update blog that Sorare dropped, because they dropped on the Friday, so like 2 days after the original blog, a very well prepared and thorough response to the majority of the feedback that they'd received from the announcement on the Wednesday. To be honest, I don't know how the video will turn out in terms of if it's going to be positive or negative or whatever. I just kind of know what the main talking points are, and as you guys, regular subscribers and viewers of the channel, will know, we'll kind of form our own opinion as the video kind of goes on, and we're kind of weighing everything up and really exploring what each of the different iterations really do mean in consequence for lineups, for galleries, for competition, all that good stuff that we come here to play the game on, of course. At any point in the video, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something, you cry, maybe, I don't know, whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Get into the comment section, let me know your thoughts and feelings, let me know what I'm missing, what have I got wrong, and everything else that the comment section is always great for as well, of course. But yeah, let's just get stuck straight into this one, because we are picking up off the back of the blog from last week. I already did content around that, you've probably seen it yourself, and it is pretty much old news at this point. We're all quite well abreast of everything that was in that blog. But the update blog only dropped late on Friday, and you might have missed it. Now, this is the blog we got on Wednesday, and this is the blog we got on Friday, which I just thought was really funny to see the little update for it. Now, what this goes through basically is just further extrapolation on everything that they'd said on Wednesday. They've kind of, they've tried to keep cards close to their chest for, maybe a little bit of legal reasons, just keeping their noses clean, but also maybe, they want to announce something and they want to do it properly, and they kind of go on here to show a little bit of their hand here, where they talk about how the success of individual league competitions means that we'll see a return of that this year, but they also drop in the nugget of Belgium and Holland are going to get their new competitions in the 25-26 season. But really, this is the paragraph here that really gives everyone the answer to the question, to the fear that they had, was in-season regions were going to be gone, and it really does scupper a lot of the classic collections that people have been building as a kind of dynasty kind of vibe, coming into this season, that they could use to supplement any new cards that we'd be picking up, winning or crafting. And they kind of go all the way to say what I'd been mentioning, I think it was in the Deadline show we did this week with Harry, where Portugal is not going to get its own league, or maybe it does, but you understand the point. Not everything is going to be a single league competition, and they have to have something for the rest of them to play in. So it looks like they're still talking about it in the regions that we recognise from last year, which is fine. Do I care that it's challenger and contender? Would it be better? If it was the mirror image of the classic? And I know they said they weren't going to do that, but if it was like an all-region, an all-star, if you will, in-season competition where it was just everything else goes, is that better or worse than the regions if you don't get a single league competition? And do single league competitions enter regions? Because as we've seen with MLS, it doesn't, whereas the Champion Euro ones, of course, they do. So it'll be interesting to see how that does kind of shake out and develop. But I think that was the main thing that kind of broke out on this blog that everyone was kind of, should be aware of. The section here about the new classic competition structure just goes to kind of underline their foresight, their kind of planning ahead of like wanting to keep the game engaging, and they do reference the fact that they don't want to see the frustrations that we've all had, where you score something pretty awesome, like 480, 500 points or something, and you're not within a sniff of anything. They want to eliminate that. That's something that is kind of something that they're foreshadowing, they're trying to plan ahead for. And it goes on to talk about utility, the amount of cards, ceiling, all the other stuff, just further explanation on what we've kind of seen already. And the super rare and the unique one was probably the most divisive part of all of the original one, regardless whether people own uniques or not. And what do we take from this? That they're going back to the drawing board with it, perhaps? I don't know. But, they go on to give some explanation around why they did the merging of the scarcities on this one. And, like, I was talking about it with Charlie, Harry, a few people, like, really, if you only have super rares, it's not really that bad, because anything that this season coming you're going to win is going to be in season. So if you're coming at it with like, like me for example, or like other people around that kind of level, where like you're playing super rare anyway, there's not really much going on. Like this could maybe actually be a little bit more interesting, a little bit more exciting. I was not happy with the move to one division for super rare. I just felt that was still too that wasn't the sweet spot. I don't think this really does actually make any clear move towards solving the kind of the scarcity of these platforms, of these scarcities in the platform. But one thing that is for sure is Unique does have a lot of money in it, in terms of the prize pool, etc. So like, I don't know, I'm quite open to being surprised by how well this turns out, because it is quite a drastic move. It couldn't have been a decision they took lightly. Maybe they're going back to the drawing board. So interested to hear what your interpretation of this is down below. And yeah, like I mentioned before with the league specific stuff, why things are communicated in phases is each kind of little branch kind of develops at its own pace, and they obviously want to give everyone maximum notice on certain things when possible. There's going to be a survey, there's going to be an AMA, there's probably going to be a podcast they'll do as well on the official Sorare YouTube channel, which is all well and good. And that takes me on to probably the first thing that I've seen everyone getting wrong about the actual announcement itself, okay? And it's the new kind of like the cap bonus, maybe not as much, but certainly the multi-team bonus, where you earn a percentage bonus on your lineup based on not stacking, having no more than 2 players from one team. So you're looking at maybe 2 Bayern Munich players and then 3 other players from anywhere else, or 2 Bayern Munich, 1 from somewhere else, and 2 from Leverkusen or whatever. And the thing that everyone is getting wrong about this is that, this diminishes collections somehow, or this takes away from collection bonus. This takes away from stacking like a collection, where it's the absolute opposite. This actually rewards, this actually enhances multi-team collections, multi-club galleries, because the collection bonus of 5-6% of super rare is on the card. You could play it by itself, it will get the full collection bonus that it's entitled to. You don't need to play 5 Real Madrid guys together to get the collection bonus activated. It's all based on the collection. So if you've got 2 guys from one team at a maximum, 2 guys from another team, and even that one guy in the middle, if they all come from 5% collections, this additional, I think it's 3% bonus this is going to be, or maybe it is in the current mode that we've got, the test mode, but imagine it's around the 3% mark. It's just an even bigger push on the percentage the team can get. I think also it does kind of save you a little bit with the cap bonus, because if when everyone looks at this stuff, they're always looking through it of the ideal lens of your best team, right? But where this is actually going to come in handy is for maybe, depends on the strength of your gallery, the strength of the fixtures as well, the availability of the cards you've got, suspension, injury, transfer, whatever. Is, if your team is on the weaker side, it just gives it an extra little, do you know what, by the way, this team could really actually do it. This team might have an extra little edge on it now, where it could just, if it does go off, the guy does get the goal off the bench, the goalkeeper does get the start, you nail the captain, whatever it is that the team's a wee bit sketchy on, there's just an extra little boost on it, an extra little bonus. This isn't something that you're going to like build your best team around, but this is more something that depends on the strength of your gallery. It's going to make your weaker teams a little bit more interesting, a little bit more exciting. And I don't know about you guys, but in my weakest team, I know it's not the best players, the ones that are not the most likely. So we're playing with probability, I suppose, in a roundabout way when it comes to selecting the team for this weekend. Low probability he's going to hit, but if he does, he's got an extra little bonus for doing so. So it's like and again, I don't buy terrible players. I don't have guys going into my 4th team in this instance, what it will be, or my 3rd team or whatever, and I think, they're terrible at football, they're not good, they've not there's no imagination behind them potentially doing well, or no possibility of it. It's quite the opposite, so just gives those teams that are right at the back burner of the priority an extra little kick, an extra little boost, which I don't mind. And then there's Arena, right? Now this is the second thing. Now Arena is going to cost Essence to enter. I think Essence, Sorare are going to make sure there is plenty of Arena level Essence going around, whatever that means. It does maybe have a knock-on effect to, like crafting and all that kind of stuff, and that's something we really need to see details on. But make no mistake about it, like, the way Sorare goes now with the common mode, if you've had any exposure to that whatsoever, is it is really tuned up for you to be daily signing onto the app, opening a pack, churning the discard a common, get another reward, and try and build towards those market credits, just doing that kind of on-platform hustle. And they're going to have stuff for the different scarcities and missions and regions and all the rest of it. Like, Essence is going to be coming at you left, right and centre. You know, the crafting is going to be at a fixed amount, and they go to say how you can spend even more more essence in your craft to maybe just find out details, and then you can kind of, you know, select, you know, you can then tip the scales in your favour by spending a little bit more in essence, excuse the expression. But I do think, like, I don't think people will be able to do every arena that they possibly want to if they've got mega galleries, but I think for like the common user, you know, and I build a lot of lineups for you guys, you know, so I kind of know like how many playing goalkeepers, like, a lot of different sizes of galleries normally have to run with and that sort of thing. There's a fair chance that most people will be quite content with their arena access. But the problem I have with arena that isn't really, I think everyone's right with, and I think everyone's on the same page with, is there will be specials for it. They have intimated as well that there's going to be like regional based ones, like a champion arena and maybe like a La Liga arena, and they'll do different things at different times. I get that. But one of the big things about Sorare has always been, you know, like the zig and the zag, you know, the Kansas City shuffle, as we like to call it here on the channel, where, you know, is there more than one way to do well? And it kind of isn't. It kind of, because they're going so streamlined and classic here, with there not, and you know, there will be specials, and this is probably the third thing I'll add in that I think a lot of people are getting wrong, and it does come into this, and this is probably where it ties in. That's why it's went off in my mind here. But I remember this time last year when they announced that All-Star was going to be going, and it is a permanent thing, and they did say, oh, it will be here quite a lot, and there'll be lots of specials. And do you know what? I think Sorare did pretty damn good in the 24-25 season. I thought special weeklies were as exciting and as interesting as they have ever been. And, you know, All-Star was, you know, they actually, and I don't think they planned that at all, don't get me wrong, right? But for how often All-Star was open and the way my season went, I kind of wish they never even mentioned that. Maybe, you know, they just said it might, I don't know. But it was actually around quite a lot. My expectations back then was, oh my god, it's going to be like a one-a-month thing, it's never going to be open, and really, and you know, blah 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 blah. We don't need to get into that. But I think the arena thing might be the same, right? Or it could be the same, where I'm worried, you're worried that like this doesn't add any strategic value. There's no decisions to be made here with where do I play my best guys on the sneaky, you know? All these great teams have got big fixtures, and all the big stacks are playing them, and all the big in-season competitions, and at the top of the classic game. But I've got the goalkeeper, I've got the striker, I've got this, I've got that. With some other guys, where can I try and get a wee edge this game week? Where can I play to try and shoot my shot? You know, it doesn't really feel that part of the SO5, SO7 arena or lobby, or whatever we're going to call that now, because arena has been repurposed now, hasn't it? So, you know, where is that element in the game? I don't think it's under 23 champ and all-star. I don't think that is that's the thing. Like, you're not going to play champ cards and all-star on the on the differential play or whatever. Maybe under 23 a tad, right? But under 23 is quite a, you know, it's not a huge stable of guys in under 23 you can viably use consistently throughout the year going into it, certainly at this stage. So yeah, the XP thing is actually a booster for everyone. It doesn't detract from anything at all in the gameplay. It doesn't really put any, it's not about the first team as well, but some of the stuff is about your second team, your third team, more than anything. And even if by luck your best team is like under it as well, it's just like, oh brilliant, here we go, this could be my week, because a guy got suspended last week, or 3 weeks ago he got sent off, or, you know, these kind of things can work out for you very easily. Essence availability, the expectations of Arena, just similar to All-Star. Now, Unique and Super Rare Pro, or Super Rare Pros, we're probably better calling it, is, again, like, it really does shaft the Unique holders. There's just no two ways about it, because Unique has been like protected waters. It's been like, you know, like a dozen people playing for like thousands, but being very expensive to enter the game mode for. And because it's been such lowly, because it's had such a small population anyway, throughout the kind of lack of real innovation or extra financial motivation from Sorare, the same way that like, limited and rare is pretty sweet. Like, as it was this season, there's a lot of changes here. Things could change off the back of that, don't get me wrong, but I thought limited and rare this season was pretty sweet, like in a really good spot. And you know, no one's ever felt that way about overall, you know, for Super Rare and Unique for the most part. There's always been criticisms here or there. I do think Rare and Limited is pretty close to complaint free this season, really, And I don't think this does anything to help uniques at all. I think this actually helps super rares a little bit. I'm not motivated to go and buy any super rares off the back of it, but I'm very, especially if it become an SO7 as well, I'm quite happy to maybe just pay a bit more attention with those guys and maybe, try a bit harder with them. I'm not saying I wasn't trying hard before, because I certainly was, don't get me wrong, but, we got kind of disenfranchised with it, just kind of fell out of love with super rares a wee bit. It just kind of became like why is it not good? Whereas rare, limited, all this stuff, really competitive, special cards, special weeklies, Champions Leagues, it was so much fun this year, it really was. But with super rares having the ability to win uniques as well, that just makes the super rare and the unique prize pool together for super rares is better. I don't see how that doesn't make a better difference to super rares, because you're not really going to bring that much unique firepower against super rares, minus the fact that if you play more uniques, you'll win more money. Well, that doesn't bother me. See if you're 5th and I'm 6th, I don't really care how much you get. I kind of care how much I get, if that makes sense. So I don't see a lot of oh my god, all these powerful cards from unique are going to come down. It's a funny one, I don't really think it fixes super rare entirely, but this is maybe, and again, there could be divisions involved that might help things slightly as well. But being able to win, I'm thinking a tier 4, tier 3 unique is way better than a tier 5 super rare, and I know that might be a bit of a sweeping statement, and there's always going to be exceptions and whatever, but I think you know the point. If that could be super rare unique card cross section on the leaderboard, the way Essence is kind of mixed up as well, that could be quite interesting, quite easily. And so let's see. They're going back to the drawing board. So if they're that convinced they were going to be able to nail it, I like to think they must have had a good plan behind it, and they're just waiting on these licenses getting confirmed. Then they can kind of go full scope, full unveiling with us. And then the 5th and final thing is the whole all-star or all-region, as I've been kind of terming it as, because I mentioned before, was really upset when all-star was leaving. I'm very happy it's coming back. Okay, now I'm happy it's coming back for personal gameplay reasons, for enjoyment, the way my gallery's structured. I can already imagine the SO7 teams I'm going to be building. It's going to be lit. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a super hard division to do well in. Make no mistake about it, right? But with every region being in here, sincerely, and this is maybe a slight message to Sorare as well as maybe what I'm hoping they've already designed this in mind with, especially when you read the blog and how their thoughts and feelings are around Classic and keeping rewards competitive, is now tier 3s, tier 2s, tier 1s. There is absolutely, make no mistake about it, they have to be appropriately tiered. If I'm pulling a tier 3, a tier 2 out of this all-star situation again, I'm expecting it to be a guy that's involved in football. I'm expecting a tier 2 to be a guy that's in the squad. Maybe they got off the bench quite a lot. Maybe they're a guy that plays 15 games a season or something like that. And a tier 3 could be a guy that plays 5 to 10 games a season, give or take. Maybe a bench appearance and that sort of stuff or whatever. Maybe they're younger. Maybe they're older. Maybe the tier 3, whatever. Tier 4 is guys that are not really getting to anywhere near football at all right now. And tier 5s are DNP merchants. They do not play. They're a third choice keeper. They're a young defender that's not getting minutes, whatever. But those kind of clear distinctions. And obviously tier 2, tier 1 are guys that are playing all the time and decent, or they don't even need to be in decent teams, but they're in teams and they can score a goal, they can make an assist or something, and obviously star, say no more. So I do hope the all-star thing actually, and think about this as well, with all of the divisions from last year and all of the regions from last year combined, the top 1,000, I don't know, but there must be a crazy concept for how this leaderboard and the prize pool is going to look when they're able to finalise and confirm everything. So I think all-star, all-region, however we want to think about it, however we want to call it, I think it could be the thing that fixes reward tiers, perhaps, because similar to crafting, I don't hear anyone moaning about tiers from crafts, because you don't really know what tier you've actually got. If you're pulling at the really low tier and a good guy comes out, you just know, oh, I've done well here. But so maybe that same kind of vibe of it's just everything. So only the good guys are that play football. People do buy on the secondary market. People do spend a little bit more than floor price on for an auction card, for an instant buy or whatever, and so on and so forth. It could maybe, just about fix that problem. Who knows? I think so. I hope so. And all of this is me kind of thinking about everything we spoke about now. So I'm in a real pickle here. My goal was to get to 250 Essence by the end of the European season. We didn't quite make it, but the way MLS is going, we'll get past 250. We're not going to get to 500, but what the frickin' frick did I do with this, you know? Because if they change the whole Essence structure, will they rebalance the Essence balance wallet that we've tubes, containers, that we've got, canisters, I don't know, of Essence? Will they rebalance this in line with whatever the new kind of economics are of it? Is it just going to pick up from where it left off? Do I want to burn all this when it gets to Tier 2 Plus? Tier 2 Plus should be good, man. Can we open that up just for a wee bit of context, since we've spoke about tiers tonight? And it's a bit of a cocktail. Could be from anywhere, really, so is what it is. But Tier 2, oh yeah, we can have a wee peek. So it's like this and above. That's not bad, by the way. That's not bad. Good amount of champ guys. Oh yeah, a McTominay would be lovely if we were just this might be fun. But they won't be in season. It'll just be a classic that you're pulling, so it's really just for fun, isn't it? So I don't know how I feel about Essence. I don't know how I feel about what I want to do with them. In terms of cards and collections and stuff like that, you guys know me. Like, my direction doesn't really change too much. I've picked up 2 guys that have been hotly linked to Celtic and feel like, you know, we're quite hopeful that Bendegren's going to sign. Obviously, that'll be wild. And Balikwisha might not be too far behind. It might be one or the other, knowing Celtic, but that's not the way the reporting sounds right now. But Machida is going to go to the Bundesliga, and that just caused me to go and... I had Ueda and Machida when they first came out. I had like the one of Machida, and I got a Ueda like 10 or 12 or something. And along with Isaka, Tanaka, Rio Hitate, that was like, and Tani, that was like my J League like 7 or 8 guys that I bought. Ominami right off the bat. So I got both them back in, and then I thought, do you know, they're only going to get to 1%. Could I get them to 2%? And it was dead easy to get Arakai and Sekigawa Slabhead. I've never owned either one of these. They're not that great overall. They were dirt cheap, and I managed to, because you guys will remember, I got some of these special NYC edition cards. So I basically just took the Burke Risa, the Jacobai Arave, and traded them for Araki and Sekigawa, which was just, you know, swapping, you know, a great little trade for me. So I've got that kind of on the go as well. We bought for under 23s. I bought a Griezmann, as you know, for Club World Cup. Finally got him, and it sounds like Robertson is on his way to Atletico Madrid. So, like, I could have a really good Atletico Madrid might be good again. I don't know. That sounds like an oxymoron, but you never know. But overall, like, I'm quite happy with where my cards are at. I'm quite enjoying getting some things in order. Like, I was quite glad to trade for a rookie Assane Diao, a treble winning De Bruyne, getting the OG Van der Voort in, and Gulashe has been released from Leipzig. It is Van der Voort season. And with the hot streaks, this is probably something that's quite exciting for me in general, for MLS and for Europe, is because hot streaks will be including a classic player now going forward, and that's just going to make life so much easier to go out and smash that. And, you know, it's interesting, right? Because they did say in the podcast that like thresholds are coming back, and it sounds like from all the blogs and everything that that's just the hot streaks. And is that really the threshold? I didn't think so. But if we do get a classic card in play, it probably will become that for like the first step or two. So that could be quite a positive development as well, that we'll only really see it when we feel it. You know, maybe just a little side note there, just a little thought I'm having as I'm going over my cards and thinking about teams and stuff off the back of the announcement and everything like that, the Coliseum vibes. And yeah, I've got good confidence these will be more fun than they appear to be on paper. You know, like I did say to Sorare when I was kind of chatting about feedback with them on the announcement, that the card reveal thing, I'm not too sure what it even is in this blog. Ceiling, again, is just, yeah, we don't really need to talk about that today. Missions upgrades, we kind of mentioned it. Manager of the month, I'm buzzing about, by the way, as well. I think this will be elite. This could be game changing. Like, I'm just going to say it. Manager of the month, and that's what they should be calling it, by the way. Like, I'm no the championship. There was like 3 names, but one somewhere it says manager of the month, or maybe I just did that in my head. But that's what it should be called, and they should get an award. You get a little award, and you get this prize. 1,000%. 1,000% is what they should do with that. Having that included is pretty big, I think, for the kind of legacy collections. Because again, having a you know, how many good classics can you have to get a streak going at any level, you know, because that's the worry, is you don't have the in-season quality to actually get to the top streak when it's like a stupid score. But if you can get a classic guy in there that you know can bang 100 and get the captain's armband on him, that you're in the mix, you know. So love that. I think that just makes life a lot easier. There's going to be some matrix tweaks as well, which probably long overdue for one or two of them perhaps. The goalkeeper conceding free thing I don't think is the biggest deal. Like, it's been nice because it's a goalkeeper conceding free. Maybe it could be 4. I don't mind it still being a thing if a goalkeeper gets hammered, but 4 or 5, I don't mind that. But yeah, something needs to move with that, because it's just a little, but like 3 is not that uncommon in modern football, you know. Like, and sometimes guys like can still put on like 15 AA, but because of that -3 and no clean sheet, it's just such a double whammy. So yeah, I'm kind of open to whatever the masses agree is probably the good changes for the Matrix. But the number one thing is the penalty one, the penalty missed, that whole kind of dynamic around all that is the number one thing I think needs to change. I would love goalkeepers to be able to get double doubles and triple triples through something, you know. So if we could get a double double triple triple for goalkeepers, that would be cool. And you can maybe keep this, you know, because then that would you know, give them the extra points to underline, you know, the counterbalance for that, you know. But yeah, I'd probably say, like, I'm not super buzzing yet. I'm looking forward to seeing the full picture, because I want to see like how many cards, how much cash, what's the division system like, what full competitions do we have available to us, and then like, I'm prepared to be optimistic. I'm optimistic as always, but I'm prepared to be excited by the final unveiling that we'll get in turn once everything, you know, the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. But I do think, like, you know, there's some parts of this that were not popular at all. But I do think any positives that were here just kind of did get lost in the soup a little bit. I think it was the card reveal thing is what I was looking for earlier. I knew there was some sort of unfinished element here, but there was just no visual for it. That's why it was very easy to miss here, wherever it is, in terms of how they're going to craft cards and stuff now. But yeah, here, a thrilling new crafting. There's not even a picture, you know, not one thing with it. And it's been very big on Sorare recently, as you know, if I click any of these buttons into being the factory and all that kind of stuff, you know. So I just think, yeah, any good stuff that was in here just kind of get droned out. But yeah, see, I'm waiting for, and yeah, I didn't realise Spain-Romania had kicked off by now, so that's a nice wee surprise for me. Hopefully score some more points, get some more XP in the bag and all that good stuff as well, of course. Really excited to catch the comment section on this one, guys. On screen there now some other stuff that we've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. If you haven't done so already, please do hit like and subscribe for more content like this. Stay out of trouble, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.